Morning, we're honored to have with us Dr. Hessie Fields to speak with us about Mental Health Awareness Month. Let us welcome her at this time.
Thank you, Sister Nancy Darlene Crawford. It's an honor to stand here to address you this morning. Thank you to our president and founder, the Reverend Al Sharpton, and thank you to the chairman of the board, Reverend W. Franklin Richardson. I do not take the opportunity to speak from this podium lightly. This podium from which Reverend Al Sharpton speaks every Saturday morning. It's like the honor of speaking from a podium from which Frederick Douglass spoke, or from which Dr. King spoke. So I don't want to take this moment for granted at all. I'm here to speak about a serious subject, mental health, and particularly mental health for Black people and communities of color. Communities in which mental illness more often goes untreated due to costs and barriers, lack of insurance. I see it in my practice every day, trying to get services and specialty care for people who may not have the right insurance. You make phone calls, you can't get an appointment, they don't take your insurance. Or you can make an appointment January 2026 or something like that. It's a big problem. The fact is that persistent racism, discrimination, and injustice cause depression, anxiety, and chronic stress, and other mental health conditions. So on Monday, October 13th, I had the honor, I spoke at the huddle, and my deepest thanks to Ashley Sharpton and all of our appreciation for her leadership of the huddle, whose mission is to help and unite dreamers to develop, lead, and empower. That Monday evening, when I spoke, we met on Zoom on what was the evening before what would have been the 52nd year birthday of George Floyd. And I want to give honor and respect to Terrence Floyd and the family of George Floyd, who suffered the pain of his death and how he died. And I want to recognize Gwen Carr, the mother of Eric Gardner, who was killed by the police. And we recognize the many other victims of police violence, of racial violence. Some names we know, many we do not know. The words, "I can't breathe," echo. Those words that have been spoken again and again and were spoken by George Floyd, Eric Gardner, and many others. The National Action Network has stood with the families, not just when the TV cameras were there, but for the long term, because the pain is long and deep. The family suffers deep pain and loss most directly, but acts of racial violence impact the mental health of Black people everywhere, far from the site where it happened. It impacts all of us. Evidence shows that many Black people across the United States experience police killings of other Black people as deeply traumatic, disturbing events. We discussed this at the huddle and the intersections of social justice, civil rights, and mental health, and how injustice, racism affects mental health, both of the individual victim and of the community. And I'd like to remind us that mental health and physical health are inseparable. They're connected. When you suffer stress, it impacts on you physically, on your immune system and your cardiovascular system. So structural disadvantages, being displaced, being homeless, repeated humiliation, exclusion, and coercion are examples of violation of dignity. Dignity is critical. And these violations and injustices activates stress hormones, increases cortisol levels, and leaves the immune system in a low-grade inflammatory state, which leads to depression, to anxiety, and other illnesses. So the federal programs that have resulted in the demolition of public housing across this country, the demolition of public housing developments, and created in their place, quote, mixed income communities that are often inaccessible to the majority of the former residents who are majority people of color, black and brown, who live in public housing. Our communities are being uprooted. Gentrification is a risk to all of us. This uprooting of predominantly African American communities causes health and mental health impacts for a people who already shoulder an enormous burden of inequities, inequalities, morbidity, and mortality. And this issue of destruction of public housing and privatization of public housing and displacement of our people is happening right here in public housing in New York City, and we're fighting against it. So what does the persistence of a people, their determination, our determination, what does the inspiration and soul of a people, the spirituality of a people, the creativity of a people, what does this mean for mental health? It means everything. Dr. King, speaking before the American Psychological Association in September of 1967, 7 months before he was assassinated, Dr. King said, "We must never adjust ourselves to racial discrimination and racial segregation. We must never adjust ourselves to the madness of militarism and authoritarianism and the self-defeating effects of physical violence." He said, "It may well be that the world is in dire need of a new organization, the International Association for the Advancement of Creative Maladjustment." A new organization. Creating Our Mental Health is an initiative that I lead. It's group workshops and therapy sessions with therapists and community organizers using poetry, music, theater, Black history, and dance. All of this, we have so much in our culture, in our history, to create collective environments of support, joy, Black joy, dreams, and social connection. And I'm leading a Creating Our Mental Health workshop at the A. Philip Randolph Center on 146th Street, just a block and a half from here. On this coming Wednesday at 1 p.m., I put flyers on the literature table in the back. Creating Our Mental Health. We can do this in our communities, in our homes, all over. We can take our mental health in our hands and create this and do this for our young people and our families and our communities. Creating Our Mental Health is free and open to everyone. From a poem by an artist and poet from Nigeria, whose work I often recite in the workshops. Her name is The Gift Chikere. Her mother named her The Gift. At the workshops, we have seen healing walk into the room wearing community. We have sat in circles and let our stories breathe next to one another's. And here are some lines from a poem that I wrote, Dr. King and Marching Feet. His vision eternal, he watches still. The battle is in our hands. Tremor, the chains, the centuries' chains. Stand with the poor, stand with the outcasts, stand with the righteous, as the radiant star of hope, with the play of possibilities. See anew, remember, heal. Hold it all close. His voice, the dense fabric of history, carry as we rise and gather onward. No justice, no peace. Thank you.